Hi guys, it's your Anfield girl. England just made the most chaotic World Cup decision in years. No Foden. No Palmer. No Trent Alexander-Arnold. Yeah, Thomas Tuchel actually left them out. And honestly, football fans are losing their minds right now. Because this is either pure genius or a complete disaster waiting to happen. And the scary part? I genuinely think Tuchel might be doing the right thing. Let's talk about it. First of all, this England squad feels completely different. No more just pick the biggest stars and pray. No more collecting attacking midfielders like Pokemon cards. No more chaos. Tuchel looked at this insanely talented generation and basically said, I don't care how famous you are. If you don't fit the system, you're out. That is brutal. But also kind of refreshing.
Because let's be honest for a second. England have had unbelievable talent for years. Golden generations, superstars everywhere, world-class attackers. And what did they win? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. One trophy since 1966. That's insane. So Tuchel decided to blow everything up. And honestly, that takes courage. Because leaving out players like Phil Foden and Cole Palmer is football suicide if it fails. These are not average players. Foden was literally Premier League Player of the Season not long ago. Palmer carried Chelsea for 2 years. Trent is one of the most creative defenders football has ever seen. And still, Tuchel said no.
Why? Because he wants workers, system players, footballers who run, press, fight, adapt. Not stars who need the entire game built around them. That's the key difference. And when you actually look at his squad, you start understanding the vision. Dan Burn, Jed Spence, Jordan Henderson, Ivan Toney. At first glance, it looks insane. Football Twitter exploded. People were calling Tuchel a fraud before the tournament even started. But here's the thing. Every single player he picked fits a purpose. Tuchel doesn't want 5 luxury creators on the pitch. He wants balance, control, structure, a real team. That's why he trusts players like Gordon and Madueke. They press like animals. They track back. They don't complain. They can play multiple positions. And most importantly, they follow instructions. Tuchel loves that.
Meanwhile, players like Foden and Palmer, incredible talents, but very free players, risk-takers. They lose possession more. They improvise more. And Tuchel clearly hates chaos. He wants precision, discipline, almost military-level football structure. And honestly, this feels heavily inspired by Luis Enrique's PSG. Look at that team. No giant egos anymore. No superstar drama. Just movement, intensity, pressing, system football. Everybody runs for each other. And suddenly, PSG became terrifying again. Tuchel saw that. And now he wants England to become the same thing. But here's where things get really controversial. Because some of Tuchel's decisions make perfect sense. And others? Absolutely not. For example, leaving out Adam Wharton feels crazy. The guy had an unbelievable season. Calm,
Smart, press-resistant. Exactly the kind of midfielder modern football needs. And yet, Tuchel picked Kobe Mainoo instead, even though Mainoo barely played consistently this season. So, suddenly, talent matters again? That's where people get confused. Because Tuchel says he only cares about form and system fit, but then makes exceptions for certain players. Still, there's one thing nobody can deny. Tuchel knows tournament football. This man won the Champions League with Chelsea. And let's not forget what Chelsea looked like before he arrived. A complete mess. No identity, no confidence, defensive chaos everywhere. Then Tuchel comes in, and suddenly, clean sheets everywhere. Structure, intensity, discipline. And boom! Champions League winners. That's why England hired him. Not because he's entertaining, not because he's charismatic, because he builds systems that survive pressure. And World Cups are all about surviving pressure. But now comes the biggest question of all. What happens when England face real opposition? Because qualifying was easy. Very easy. Weak opponents, lots of control, lots of clean sheets. But what happens against France, Brazil, Argentina, Spain? That's different. Completely different. Because eventually, you need magic. You need somebody who can decide a match alone. And that is why people are terrified about leaving out Foden and Palmer. Because when games become ugly, tight, nervous, sometimes only pure talent saves you. Imagine England are losing in a World Cup semi-final. 70th minute. Nothing works. Who changes the game? Who creates something from nothing? That's the concern. Madueke? Maybe. Gordon? Possibly. But are they on the same creative level as Foden or Palmer? Honestly, no chance. And then there's Trent. This one might hurt Liverpool fans the most. Because yes, defensively he has weaknesses. But creatively, there is literally nobody like him. Nobody. One pass from Trent can destroy an entire defensive block. And leaving that at home is a massive gamble. But Tuchel clearly believes structure is more important than individual brilliance. And maybe, just maybe, he's right. Because modern football is changing. Look at Arsenal. Look at PSG. Look at the best pressing teams in Europe. Collective football is dominating more and more. Systems are beating superstars. Still, the pressure on Tuchel is now insane. Because this squad either becomes legendary, or this turns into one of the biggest disasters in England history. There is no middle ground. And trust me, English media will destroy him if this fails, especially after dropping so many huge names. But honestly, I kind of respect the bravery. Most managers play safe. Tuchel didn't. He walked into England, looked at one of the most talented generations ever, and said, "No, we do this my way." That takes guts. And maybe that's exactly what England needed. Not another celebrity squad. Not another FIFA Ultimate Team lineup. A real football team. A team willing to suffer together, run together, fight together.